I've done quite a few videos on becoming better prepared, whether you're talking about food storage, water storage, alternative energy options, a lot of things that we need to do. And in most of those videos, I also talk about protecting the supplies that we've got. So today I want to go over some home security measures that we can and should be taking just in case something does get out of hand. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's a full-scale, large Mad Max type thing. It could be something a lot smaller, but we need to be able to protect the things that we've accumulated. And with the things going on today, there really isn't a way to say one thing is more likely than the other. You've got the Middle East going on. You've got Europe going on. You've got the Hurricane Helena that just went through and wreaked havoc in North Carolina, which was a little bit unexpected for just about everybody, especially the government. Now, granted, this is a once in every 100-year storm, but it illustrates the point that we need to be prepared for those unexpected events. You've also got the economy and the election coming up here in a couple months. So there are just so many different things on the table. It's important that we pay attention to this stuff. So today, like I said, I want to talk about home security and a few of the basic things that we can do to make our home secure, regardless of if something big happens or if nothing happens at all. By taking care of these things, we're going to feel more safe, comfortable, and secure on a daily basis, knowing that it's going to be really hard to come in and take the things that we have and easy to protect our family. And in order to do this all correctly, we need to start off by assessing our home's vulnerabilities, because it's crucial to identify potential weak points in your home's defenses. And by conducting a thorough security audit, you can pinpoint areas that need improvement. So what you want to do is start walking around your property, both inside and outside the perimeter of your home, all the way into the bedrooms of your home. Also, think about your neighborhood. Put yourself in the mindset of a potential intruder. What people may be driving by encasing your home, what they may be looking at your home compared to other homes, and what's the easiest target. And when it comes to your home, examine all the entry points. This is the doors, the windows, and even less obvious routes like the basement windows, even dog doors, and possibly even skylights. Think about all these different places that can be used as an access point to get in your home. I've said in the past, think like a teenager, or if you have a teenager, get them to do this audit for you, because they're the ones, depending on the teenager, trying to get out of the house without anyone knowing. It would be the same sort of situation in reverse, getting in the house. And it's possible that you uncover something you hadn't even thought about. And as you make your list of all these entry points, identify the weak points with those as well. Inadequate door frame reinforcement. A lot of doors provide minimal support with the bolt or latch. Get the 3-inch long screws at the very least. There's also companies that make door armor where you can reinforce those hinges. You've also got locks that are ANSI grade 1 or grade 2. Grade 1 ANSI, ANSI, are basically the locks you would see on banks or businesses that are really made with good quality materials, hard to break into, hard to copy the keys. Upgrade your deadbolts to those that are a lot stronger. And with the reinforced door frames, the 3-inch long screws, and with these really good deadbolt locks, you make it a lot harder for somebody to get in your front door or those access points, which are going to be the ones that they're mainly looking at to start off with. You won't be able to completely stop someone that really wants to get in your home 100% of the time, but this is a deterrent, and it's going to take them longer if they decide to do that, giving you more time to react. And also think about your windows and sliding doors if you have them. These are pretty easy access points because all you do is break the glass, but they do have bulletproof film, and I'm not sure how bulletproof these actually are, but if somebody comes up with a hammer, throws a rock, it's not going to shatter. This film gives you, like I said earlier, a little bit more time to get things done. And with sliding glass doors, you can put this film on the sliding glass doors. You can reinforce the factory locks on all your windows and doors. You can put the stick behind the sliding glass door to make it harder to open. All of these little measures, these little things that we can do that makes everything just a little bit harder and gives us a little bit more time to react in situations where somebody is trying to intrude into our home. Garage doors are also a huge vulnerability for a lot of people because most of these are the factory locks and they are easy to get into. So with garage doors, you could get a tripwire alarm system, an audible alarm system, or something that alerts you. You could change the locks, reinforce that. And at the very least, the door that goes into your house from your garage needs to have those grade 1 locks or grade 2 locks like I was talking about and is reinforced. If you have a lot of supplies and gear and important things in your garage, you really want to make sure that's reinforced because that possibly could be the easiest entry point into your home. And moving a little bit further outside, you want to make sure you don't have a lot of overgrown landscaping, trees and shrubs that would block your view or give concealment to somebody or a group of people that are trying to get into your property. Now, there are times when shrubs and bushes are actually a good thing. There's a lot of shrubs and bushes that have thorns on them that are going to make it just a little bit harder for somebody to navigate through, and something that somebody's probably not going to want to hide behind if it's got 2 or 3 inch thorns on it and it's making it very uncomfortable. But for the most part, you don't want to have places in your yard and on your perimeter where people can hide and conceal themselves. And along the same lines as concealment, you want to make sure that everything is properly lit, whether you're talking about solar yard lights, motion lights. We have a few that I've installed that light up certain areas of the home and cameras on those areas. So cameras and lights are important as well to give you a little bit of advance notice. And that's what most of these tips are, is just a little bit of advance notice to help you react to a situation rather than be surprised. So make sure there's proper lighting in your yard. Make sure you have the cameras, even if they're grid tied, and meaning they're not going to work in a power outage, at least you have something. And think about options for when the grid goes down and what you can do at that point as well. And also, if you have the hidden keys somewhere around your property or house, make sure they're not in the predictable spots, under a rock or right next to your front door, under a planter. Make sure if you do need to do that, that it's not in a predictable spot that people will think about, and make sure other people that you don't want to know where that is, don't know where that is. And also, when it comes to inside your home, you might want to think about not just having those grade 1 locks on your front door, but maybe on a door or two in your home, that safe room type thing. A lot of us can't afford to have that super reinforced room that people can't get into, but we could get a stronger door. A lot of bedroom doors and basement doors are really flimsy, so you'd want to get a stronger door and put a stronger lock on that. And again, at the very least, this is a deterrent. This is your place to go to defend yourself and your loved ones. So now that we've got the home fortifications taken care of, let's move on to the deterrents. And this is both physical deterrents, visual deterrents, and also psychological deterrents, making your house look like less of a target than somebody else's house. This could be something as simple as yard signs, beware of dog signs, or you're being monitored right now. All of these different signs that let them know that you've taken these security measures, and that'll give them a second thought about what else have they done. A big dog house in the yard, and if you don't have a dog, maybe put a couple giant dog bones in the front yard just to give somebody that idea that, hey, there's a dog we're going to have to deal with as well. And I talked about surveillance systems earlier, and that's a huge deterrent because that is what some of these criminals or somebody that is looking to get into your property are looking for. What kind of cameras are out there? When the lights come on, that's going to distract them and maybe scare them off. All of these things, they have to be visible so that they know, hey, these security measures have been taken. And with surveillance systems, there's also dummy cameras that you could put up. I wouldn't suggest putting all your cameras up as dummy cameras because if that doesn't work, you're kind of hosed at that point. But if there are certain areas that you want a camera but you don't have the system for it, throw a couple of those up and they won't know what you'll know which ones aren't working, but they won't. They'll think they're all working. And once again, I have to mention lighting. Think about assess your property and think about how they may come in. What is the best route to your home? Make sure those are lit up. Make sure the important areas are lit up. That way, if something does happen at night, you can see what's going on and you give yourself an advantage in that situation rather than them having the advantage, which is what they want. And you may want to even think about having audible deterrents around these important areas or the whole perimeter of your property. There are a number of different options for this. And also a small makeshift option would be a little camp alarm that, like this one that I use all the time. It's basically some fishing wire and a really loud sensor. Now, this isn't going to alert you inside your home per se, but it is going to make such a loud noise outside that it's either going to alert other people or it's going to give them the impression that other people are alerted and they'll take off. There are a lot of different options for this, but the quicker you are alerted to a possible intruder, the better you're going to be able to handle that situation. So think about those visual deterrents that lets these people know, hey, I've planned for this and I'm watching you. And also those psychological deterrents to let them know that, hey, this isn't going to be as easy as maybe the next door neighbors or 2 houses down. So let's reassess our plans. Another thing that we should be thinking about is camouflaging our valuable assets. And by this, I mean not storing all your food in one spot. So if somebody does come in, what are they going to see? What are they going to find? You've got caches that you could set up around your property, whether you're talking about food caches or even just the smaller ones that have just extra money or ammunition or things like that. And if somebody does come clean you out in your home, you're still going to have a few of these things left over. Along with burying caches outside your home in the ground, there are also other creative concealment techniques. Consider using everyday items for secret hiding spots. We've seen these, especially when we were teenagers, the shaving cream cans and things like that. You've got furniture these days that could be used for concealment. I've got a shelf that looks like an everyday shelf, but it is actually a gun cabinet. You've got all sorts of different furniture that you could use. There are little wall outlets that a fake wall outlet you could put in your wall. Just cut out a little piece of drywall and throw that in there. It looks like a wall outlet. Nobody would ever think about that. You've also got safes and things like that. Think about these ways that if somebody did get into your home, that they wouldn't just find everything sitting in one spot. Because while it would be horrible that they'd come in and take everything that you have, if you have a little bit extra that they didn't know about, that could make all the difference in the world. Now, hopefully it doesn't get to this point where they've come in and ransacked your home and taken everything that they want. And a good way to prevent that is your self-defense measures, whether that be non-lethal self-defense or firearms and ammunition. Both of these are important. There are quite a few non-lethal self-defense methods, whether you're talking about tasers, stun guns, pepper spray, things like that, where if the situation doesn't call for lethal force, then these are what you would want to do. You could also hide these around your home, and this goes for firearms as well. Under a table, in a closet, in the shelf, like I was talking about earlier. A lot of different places where you can strategically put these that if somebody does get in, they're not going to know where that is. So it's important to store all of these safely and away from children. But if you don't have children, you could put them under a kitchen table or somewhere around the home that you know where it is, but they don't. And along with this comes training. And this is especially important with firearms. You want to make sure they're safe, but you also want to make sure you know what you're doing when that situation does arise. So this is more than just going out to the range and shooting at targets. This is figuring out, maybe taking a class or learning how to clear your home, understanding what route you're going to take if somebody does get in, understanding the safety measures, making sure your family understands all these things. So the training, the practice is all really important when it comes to a situation like this where we're talking about worst case scenario. We've done everything to keep these people out, but now they're in. Now what do we do? So the training is really important for this as well. Not just having that stun gun, that firearm, the shotgun or whatever. So just to recap, make sure you're thinking about this in zones. You've got inside your home where you've got your supplies, where your family is that needs to be protected. You've got the access points into your home, so the exterior of your home. You've got your yard and everything inside your perimeter. And then you've got the perimeter on the outside as well. That's your first layer of security right there, and making the things that you can do to make sure that people don't get into the next level. And also make sure and think about the whole neighborhood and the big picture, what your home looks like compared to everyone else's. If you were this person trying to get into a certain property, whether that's yours or your neighbor's, what would you be looking at and how would you be trying to get into that property? And which houses would you be avoiding and which houses would be a good target? And like I said earlier, there's really nothing we can do. If somebody wants in bad enough, they are going to get in. All we can do is reinforce and secure our property as much as possible to make it as hard as possible, giving us a better chance in these situations. So with that, I am done today, everyone. If you've got any ideas, I know there are a lot more as preppers. We've got a bunch of different ideas for SHTF security and things like that, whether you're talking about caltrops in the driveway or little tripwires and things like that. If you've got any comments or any ideas, make sure and leave them in the comment section below. But with that, I am done today, everyone. Take care and prepare. We will talk to y'all later.